A new study's found that there's something definitely off about YouTube's recommendation algorithms, and left-leaning videos are recommended far less than video creators on the right. Wow, we see this, don't we? Constantly. I don't know that you could call my stuff left-leaning. Most of the stuff I do is, it's consumer-generated. It's certainly the middle of the road where it comes to politics. I'm not Democrat or Republican, either one. But we see throttle back on political. I see your stuff throttle back all the time. Every day, we're family here. Ring of Fire is very much a family, and we all know what everybody's doing, and we want everybody to have an opinion. And your opinions are absolutely throttled back when you start going far after Trump, or after Republicans. If it doesn't look conservative, they're throttled back, right?
Yeah, and there is a new study that seems to confirm this. It's a study out of London. We here in the U.S., we don't do meaningful things, but what they did was they looked at this and they created these different online personas to test and see what YouTube would recommend. They had one that was a mommy vlogger. Mm-hmm. So we're interested in stuff for moms and parents. We have one that is a staunch conservative, one that's a staunch liberal, one that is a Spanish-speaking mother. And what they found across the board was that if you're right-leaning, they're going to recommend right-leaning material to you, as they should. That's what you like. But if you're left-leaning, you're actually not getting recommended more left-leaning content. They will throw right-wing content at you. They will throw culture war issue at you. And most importantly, the main thing they're pushing is religious content. Yeah. So whereas the right-wing people will get recommendations for Fox News, the left-wing people are not getting recommended left-wing content.
Do you know what's scary about it? They say that algorithms are driven by the pulse of the nation. You ever heard the term?
Yeah.
Pulse of the nation. We are figuring out, we have AI looking at everything. They're analyzing polls, they're analyzing what's being said out there in social media, and we're reacting to the pulse of the nation. And what that tells you is what the pulse of the nation is a movement to the right. That's the only thing you can conclude from this. And these are folks that they're hanging their hat on the idea that we're calling it right. Because I think what you're saying is completely correct. We see it here firsthand.
Yeah.
We see the throttle back when you do something.
We can see our views from recommended videos start to dwindle because it happens about once a year, once every 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's something that, by the way, just I guess anecdotally here, but it has happened in the last month to essentially every left-leaning channel.
Yeah.
Midas Touch, TYT, Brian Tyler Cohen, Majority Report,
they're
David Pakman.
Doing stories on it. They're saying this is bad.
And us. And so it does happen across the board. But when you look at the right-leaning channels, there's no drop in traffic. There's no drop in advertising. They always seem to be unaffected when the left goes through these doldrums, which shouldn't be happening in an election year when people are actually seeking out political news. But it does happen for some reason.
Well, if you believe that algorithms are driven by this thing called pulse of the nation, it gives you a sense of what we might be concerned about, right? Democrats are warning they're based to temper their expectations for November, even as Harris maintains a national polling lead. These Democrats are afraid that the polls could be wildly off base and Donald Trump could outperform the polls like he did in 2016, like he did in 2020, substantially. It wasn't just a slight outperformance, it was a big outperformance. Talk about it.
Yeah,
If I talk about it, it's going to be attacking the damn Democrats again.
You got to start with reminding people in 2016, Hillary Clinton was the favorite to win. The polls had her up by 5 points, I think. And then she ended up winning the popular vote by about 3.5%.
3 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Votes,
And so the polls were technically right, just not accurate, if that makes sense to people. Then in 2020, believe it or not, the polls were even worse off. They said Biden had, a 7-point advantage, and then he won by, I think...
5.2 or
something. It was
less than that, 2.5 maybe so.
2.1.
2.1,
2.1, yeah. So it really was bad. It was really awful. And what happened is, as we've talked about multiple times here, we're getting oversampling. We're getting oversampling from California, from New York, from very populous states, and I'm not trying to pick two blue states.
But they've proven that's their going.
Right.
Those are the going 2 points. That's what they did with Hillary.
Yeah.
Okay? And they missed all the flyover states. and the flyover states came out in droves.
And she personally campaigning missed all the flyover
Yes,
states too.
yes, yes.
And she was ahead. What was it? 7 points in Wisconsin.
Oh, at one time it was 9 points, Farron. She was
And then
ahead.
lost. Yeah, lost by 7.
Yeah.
Because the polls were so off in Wisconsin. And sure, the polls right now say, oh, Harris has got a pretty good lead in Wisconsin, but none of it could be real. And that's what we also, this could be as real as Bitcoin.
Isn't the swing state problem? The swing state problem is the difference is a hair. It's 0.3, 0.4. And there's a mechanism that the pollsters use. Of course, I have zero trust in the polls. I mean, my thing is go vote.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be entertained, if you want to make yourself angry, if you want to make yourself happy, read the polls that make you happy. If you just want to be depressed, read the polls that make you sad. I don't give a damn. But at the end of the day, go vote. I mean, that's it, right? That's where it really takes place. But when you look at these pollsters, they say when you see this thin margin in swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, when you see this close 0.3, 0.4, that is exactly how Hillary lost, okay? They were calling in the Hillary case, they were in the Hillary situation, they kept saying, well, when we look at the numbers, she has what was a 57% chance of winning, 55% chance.
Yeah.
Same thing here. You call Harris, if you look at these, she has a 54% chance of winning. It's a flipping of the coin.
Yeah.
Flip a coin, and you're going to see what they're saying about these polls. And to me, I just, you know, like I say, I love to watch. I love to listen to people's reactions. Though in a weird kind of way, I like to see people just go off crazy. You know, I can't believe the poll says this. They go insane. I don't know. Maybe some people are entertained by that. I don't know. But to me, it is the biggest problem they're having now is what they call built-in ideological favoritism. That both sides.
Yeah.
And so that's something I look at. You just ignore the polls, right?
Well, and I think a lot of what we saw in 2016 and 2020 as well has to do with, you know, kind of what they called the embarrassed voters, the people who were going to vote for Trump but didn't want to admit it when talking to the pollster. That is actually
I know, I saw it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being so embarrassed by saying, yeah,
and it's somebody you're talking to on the phone. You're never going to meet them in person. They don't know
like,
you.
It's like they're not in the room with you and they go, hey, you know, Joe said he's going to. But that was a real thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a real thing now?
I think probably more so today. So, yeah, I always tell people when I do talk about the polls, I say, look, I'm not here to give anybody false hope, so take it with a grain of salt, what I'm about to tell you.
Exactly.
So, and hopefully it sticks with people. I do talk about polls because we're in an election cycle, polls are there, but it's the issue polls when you have people that say, yes, this is an important issue to me, this is not.
If people
those
listen to you when you talk about polls, you always say, at the end of the day, go out and vote.
Yeah.
The polls don't mean anything. I mean, full disclosure, sometimes we do these polling stories just to piss people off that are watching this show. I mean, truthfully, I'd love to say, but it makes them crazy. And you know, the truth of the matter is, go vote.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the polls. Turn off the polls. Turn off MSNBC and CNN and Fox News or whatever. Go vote.
Yeah, because none of this is real until everything is real.
That's right. Farron Cousins, the best, I swear you are absolutely the best progressive commentator in the business, and I'm so glad you're on this show with me all the time. Thanks a lot. That's all the time we have, but all these segments are going to be posted right here on this channel in the coming week. Make sure you subscribe. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer, where we tell you stories every week that corporate media won't tell you because their advertisers won't let them. They actually prevent them from telling these stories because they'll dry up their advertising dollars. Or they become too Republican or too Democrat, and a news organization can't tell you the truth. They want to tell you what's going to make you happy to hear. We don't have that problem. A lot of times we tell you stuff that's not going to make you happy, but that's what we're about. We'll see you next time.